my name is Jojo and I like to read. Give a Book, Give a Voice is a channel that helps young people learn new vocabulary and listen to interesting stories. The book I'm reading today is In the Beginning There Was Joy by Matthew Fox. Once upon a time, a long time ago. Before there was time, or times, or limes, or dimes, or even rhymes. Before there was space. Before there were trees, or leaves, or Barbas, or Steves. Before rocks, or socks, or violinists, or jocks. There was no thing. There was darkness among us. Full, deep, dark, and black darkness. No space, no place, only darkness. But what came before the darkness? Before the darkness there was fun, on the run, and play all day. And her name was Wisdom. Wisdom and her maker were named Joy. Mr. and Mrs. Joy, to be exact. They played in the morning before there was something and played with nothing. They played with song and sound and round and silence and balance and up and in and out and down and inside and outside and upside and downside and upside and downside. One day Miss Joy sat down with Mr. Joy and said, "Let's make a girl and a boy." "What a great idea," said Mr. Joy. "A girl joy and a boy joy to share our joy," said Mrs. Joy. But Mr. Joy said, "How shall we do this? How shall we teach the boy joy and girl joy to play? There must be some day," Mrs. Joy said, "for without the light they will still have no sight. They will miss all the beauty that so delights you and me. So let's begin with the light." And so the universe began with light. Some called it fireball, others a big bang, and others the start of creation. But truth is, it wasn't anything like this. It was silent. It was dark. It was so small you could hardly see it all. It was a mysterious fellow that grew and grew until one day, it blew into a deep, silent, everywhere yellow. But the Joy couple, things weren't yet just right. Where is the joy? Where is the boy? Where's the girl Joy? They sat and sat, twirling their thinking cap. They thought and thought. There's more that we ought to do if our dream is to come true. Mister said to Mister, before there can be a brother and sister, or a son and daughter, or girls and boys, there really ought to be a palace of toys, a temple of joys, chimed in Mr. Joy. Let's make some atoms, little relations, bite-sized and tiny, smaller than specks, with light on the inside, and dancing all night, twixt electron and proton and light-filled photon. "We'll build things of greatness," exclaimed his wife, Mrs. Joy. "Galaxies and stars, planets and moons, each playing its own tunes, hurling, whirling, spinning out so far, passing on the light even at night. Supernovas too, who, when they explode with their colors, will form planets and others, some cool, some hot, some sunny, and some not." Mr. Joy and his wife were so overjoyed and so happily employed, so taken up in their plans, that they barely noticed how the clock in its hands had passed round and round for billions of years. Icos, they called it, this home of their own where all beings could roam and expand as they might and connect it just right into the ecology of things. But back in the kitchen, the Joys were still fixing everything in order, and now they were itching to make their special invention, contrary to all convention, the biggest surprise, a place we'll call Earth for all it's worth, said Mrs. Joy. "We must do this right. It's got to fit right. The sky and rocks of it, the fire and rain of it, the oceans and plains, the greens and the blues, the colors and the hues, the woods and the trees, the mosquitoes and the bees, the birds and the songs, the ozone and the gongs. The waters and lakes, the desert that bakes, the whales, the worms, the flowers and sperms, the squirrels and doggies, the wet and the soggies, all of it home to the humans to come. Yes, a place to delight in where humans fit right in. The ever-creative joy couple continued their work. We'll make ears to make sounds and eyes to taste colors, like orange and pinks and reds and yellers, fuchsias and purples and funnies and slurples, and skin to feel hot, and clothes when it's not, and nose to smell with, and hearts to swell with, love and fun and joy and justice. Yes, there's no joy without justice, exclaimed Mrs. Joy. Now we are ready. Keep yourself steady. Don't scream. It's time for the humans to come on the scene. A girl joy and a boy joy who will make children and grandchildren too, and do something new with their space and their time, with imagination so fine that we can hardly imagine or fathom or rhyme. How shall we do this? What will they look like? What will they cook like? What will they eat? How will they sleep? How special should they be? How like you and me? These were the questions that occupied their sessions when Mrs. and Mr. Joy sat down to make humans. They sat and they stuttered, they moaned and they muttered, they wondered and worried, they felt themselves hurried. Then Mr. Joy sat up at the start. What's all the fuss? Let's just make them like us. Like us, asked Mrs. Joy? Yes, we'll give them art. That will be amazing. Their brains will be blazing with images and fires and symbols and lyre and poetry and art. They'll have a head start if we make them like us. And Mr. Joy thought, but there might also be trouble and worry and strife, because if they're like us, they'll be creative and giving, and they'll have choices to make, and the whole planet's at stake if they mess things up. Yes, we're taking a risk, and that's for sure, offered Miss Joy as she slyly demurred, and sipped at her coffee, dreaming the absurd. What will guard humans from wrong kinds of choices? Where will they go to hear wisdom's voices? What they must know is this Icos, our home, is precious with its blues and greens and valleys and sheens and waters and forests and things that go borks. In the middle of the night, the frogs and the wombats, the beavers and the polecats, the grains and the plains, the fishes and the tasty dishes. The sun and the moon, the planets and the stars, the woodchucks and the frusucks, breakfast in Germany, the puppies that are ours, the kittens that purr, the breezes that stir, the air and the ozone, the light and the dark zones, all of it's a free zone, a place of grace. We must tell our children this, your eyes and ears, your nose and your tears, your singing and your skipping, and your belly button and years, all are given a freebie, a grace. That's what's so special about your time and place. Spirit is everywhere and everywhere still, and love is unconditional, and there's forgiveness to boot. All creation loves us. It all gives us a hoot about our past and our future, and your brother and sister. It's all a blessing to you, and me, and us. They're making a fuss, the worms and the germs, the plants and the mountains, the flowers that bother to process the air, the tall and green forest that breathes poison so porous and breathes them out healthy, rains and the plains, the sun and the clouds are also busy shouting out loud. We love you, we grace you, we bless you. These are the voices that will help humans make choices to cherish the planet and all that is on it. But these voices have questions for humans as well. Do you love us too? Do you think of us as we do you? Do you live in a box, or do you love us rocks, as long and enduring as we have loved you? I bet, said Mrs. Joy, that our girl and our boy will learn to enjoy what is free and is gift, what is grace and is good, that they will sift the selfish from the shellfish, the good from the bad, the banal from the table, the lazy from the able, the dumb from the fun. Yes, indeed, said her husband, this is a risk worth taking, making our children in our image without faking. They'll learn because they must what is beautiful and what is not, what matters and what's wrought, and if they don't, it will all turn to dust. So let's get on with it. We'll make them like us. Sit back and enjoy it. Surely these people will fit into what we've been birthing these 14 billion years. They will be happy, funny, and flappy. They will find their way to remember saying thank you each day. For all this is a gift and all that is grace. For every place and every race and every blade of grass and clover, and their legs that happily rover over it all. Surely they use their minds for peace, their hearts for wonder, their heads for thinking, and their anger for thunder, won't they? They'll never turn to hating each other, or running down beauty, or emptying what is sooty, or making a mess of their world that is the best, of just about everything that we've made. Surely they'll choose for what is best for themselves and their kids and others to come after they're gone, won't they? So let's sing the song that begins a new creation. Let's kiss the kiss that gives humans recreation, and play all day and fun on the run. So with lightning and thunder amidst roses and dozes, loving and caring will mold us a child who's beautiful and wild, truly outstanding, beautiful wonder, a blessing, a good thing, a new thing, a woo thing, who can sing and loves dancing, who can pray and do trancing, a peacemaker, a pacemaker, clothes maker, food gatherer, a lover, a worker, a burper, a healer, a grace, a mirror of our beauty, our laughter, our powers that have made the world glitter with oceans and flowers, and we'll call these beings humans, children of joy. Their smiling faces will shine radiant and divine. This instruction they gave the first girl and boy. Now heed this advice. If you want to find happiness, and share what is nice. When there is trouble, rise up from the rubble and remember your origin and source of our name. Joy is your heritage, the family that made you. Give it and receive it, and don't ever leave it. To joy be true, and never forget to play every day. Now and forever, a holy endeavor, words without end. Amen. The end.